Welcome back, everybody. We are going to start our lesson on rational exponents and radical expressions. Let's talk about radical versus rational notation. If I want to put the fifth root of 32 in my calculator, most calculators don't have an option for a fifth root. What do I do? How do I get that in my calculator then? Well, we can use this to help us rewrite the radical into a rational exponent. A rational exponent is a fraction. And to do that, we have the power or the exponent, depending on how you prefer to say it, all over the root. So as I'm looking at the fifth root of 32, there is a first power there, even though we don't write it. 32 to the first power. So we have base of 32, first power, fifth root. 32 to the 1/5 power is the same as the fifth root of 32. We can also go backwards. If we have a rational exponent or a fraction exponent, then we can rewrite it. Oops, I'm not sure where I'm taking that from. Sorry, a to the m. So let's say that we have r to the 5/7. Our bases are, write our radical symbol. Our power or our exponent is 5, and our root or the index of our radical is 7. And so that's what it would look like in radical form. Make sure you have your calculator, and we're going to practice putting this in the calculator and rewriting between forms today. All right, the fourth root is 16. This is 16 to the first power. Our base is 16, power over root. First power, fourth root. In my calculator, I type 16 to the 1/4 power. I get 2. The difference between A and B is the negative. So this says, look, find the fourth root of 16, but give me the negative answer. So we already did the fourth root of 16 is 2, but this time they want us to answer as -2. Letter C. The negative this time is underneath our radical. So that means our base is -32. And we want to make sure it's in parentheses, especially when we type it in the calculator, because where the negative is can change what our outcome would be for our answer. And we'll talk about that a little bit more at the end of this first example. This is a first power and a fifth root. So first power, fifth root, 32 to the 1/5 power. Type that in our calculator, and we get -2. Letter D, our base is 1000. This is a first power right here. So first power, third root. 1000 to the 1/3 power is 10. Letter E, we can write this two different ways. Both of these values inside have a first exponent. So we can rewrite this as 64 over 729, first power, sixth root. Or we can write them individually. First power, sixth root, over 729, first power, sixth root. Either way, we end up with 2/3. Letter F. Again, our negative is under the radical, so we want letter F to go similar to how we did letter C. The -16 is in parentheses. This is a first power here. power over root. First power, fourth root. Type that in our calculator, and we get an error, a non-real answer. Okay, so this answer for letter A was positive 2. Letter B was negative 2 because the negative was outside the radical. And for letter F, we have a non-real answer because it is inside the radical. That would be something where we would have to pull out the I. But we're not going to worry about that right now. For right now, we just want to make a note that any even root, so second root, fourth root, sixth root, eighth root, 10th root, with a negative under the radical is not real. All right, example 2 is just converting to a radical. Converting to a radical means that I want to have a radical symbol in my answer. I look at letter A, my base is 8. So I have my base of 8 with my radical. Remember the exponent is power over root. So second power, third root, 8 squared, and the third root of 8 squared. Letter B. The negative 32 is inside parentheses, so that's like this letter C up here. Our base is negative 32. We have our radical symbol. Power is 4. Root is 5. Letter C. This negative is not grouped with the 16. So this letter C is going to look similar. Oops, let's get a different color. Let's do purple. To letter B up here. That negative is going on the outside of the radical. Our base is 16. The power is 3. The root is 4. Letter D. Our base is X. Our power is 5. Our root is 6. Letter E. This 3 is not grouped in a parenthesis, so that 3 is not part of our radical base. Our radical base is X. We have second power, third root. Letter F is the same way. This 2 is not grouped in, so we have 2. Our base is P. First power, second root. Well, remember, we don't really write first powers. And if there's no number here on the pedestal, the radical sign, then it's an understood square root or second root. And so in this case, if we were looking at a multiple choice answer, the square root of P is all it would have. The square root of P is the same as P to the 1/2 power. Letter G, our base is 3A plus B. It's all grouped together in these parentheses. First power, remember we don't draw. Fourth root goes over there on the pedestal. Example 3. Now we're going the opposite direction. It's not asking us to evaluate. It's just saying to convert to rational exponents. And so that means our final answers are going to have fraction exponents. For letter A, our base is X. Our power is 5. Our root is 4. Power over root every single time. So X to the 5/4 power would be our answer. Letter B. Our base is 3y. And remember, we're going to put parentheses around it to show that all of that was inside our radical. The exponents here are 1, so we have first power. And since there's no number on the pedestal here, that is a square root or a second root. So 3y to the 1/2 power. Letter C. The 10 is on the outside, so we don't worry about that. Our base is z, second power, fifth root. So z to the 2/5 power. Letter D. That 5 again, not part of our base. Our base there in parentheses is 2x to the 4th. 7th power, third root. And last but not least, letter E. We have p squared plus q. That's all underneath the radical, so we're going to group that all together. That's all to the first power and second root. So 1/2 power. This is where we're going to pause for our first part of our practice. Thanks for joining. Have a good rest of your day.